more deeper in that cover, or am I just a conspiracy theorist? I don't know. I know it's something deeper in that cover. Is there something deeper to that cover, to that book cover?
Man, yeah, like I appreciate it, man. Like I took that picture of my phone too.
Wow, I need your phone. Oh, you already had the iPhone 12 before it came out. Okay,
I had that. Yeah, man. Okay. No, this is about 3 years ago. So I think that was about 7 or 8 at that point.
Oh, okay.
That iPhone, though, man, I was like, man, I can't lose it because I'm over here in Sudan. I want to drop it or nothing, and like forget it or something. But man, like, yeah, I was in Sudan and I went to a monastery because, like, we were just talking about, man, Nubia is the oldest sub-Saharan nation on earth. It's one of the oldest African countries in the world. We all talk about Nubia, but Nubia was a Christian country. They embraced Christianity as the national religion of Nubia in the 500s. And then, peep this, when the Muslims tried to come in and conquer Nubia, they lost. And so you had Islam. It just made me laugh when I hear black folks saying we got to be Muslim. Islam, that's the religion of the black man. I'm like, you realize that when Muslims into Africa, they came with swords and they came with bows and arrows, and they was trying to force Islam. They conquered Egypt, they conquered Carthage, and they tried to conquer Nubia, but they failed. And guess what? Nubians was Christians. So Nubians was Christian, and guess what? Ain't nobody make them be Christians because the king of Nubia, 100 years before Islam, he freely embraced Christianity. Ain't nobody forced him to do nothing. And so Nubians was Christian. They fought off Muslims and stayed Christian for a long time. And they developed churches and monasteries. And in the capital city of Nubia called Dongola, they had a monastery. And in that monastery, they had so many paintings. But that one there, that caught my eye because, and there's something definitely deeper to it, because it had, as you see in the cover, like maybe you can show, later on a picture of it, but like there's a picture of some Africans wearing animal masks. And something you don't see in the picture is that these figures are actually right next to a nativity painting of like Jesus and Mary. And they were shouting out phrases of praise in the Nubian language, y'all, the oldest sub-Saharan African language on earth. This is one of the oldest inscriptions in the African language, and they're praising Jesus Christ, y'all. But the other thing, the last thing that's interesting about it is the fact that, animal masks and things like that, we've seen that that's a very common part of African culture, many different West and Central African cultures and South African cultures. In fact, that's even something that we brought over, even that survived slavery, because, where do we think Mardi Gras masks came from? Like, even wearing masks is something that is in African cultures in the United States and in the Caribbean as well. So that's a Pan-African kind of cultural practice, but that was not something that Nubians used to do. So what that lets us know is that the Nubians were evangelizing other Africans further to the west. And so what that lets us know is that it wasn't just in East Africa, because that's another thing people say, all right, well, fine, yeah. All right, Egypt and Nubia and Ethiopia, they might have been Christian, but that's in East Africa. And we wasn't from East Africa. We was from West Africa. And I'd be like, all right, first of all, you need to stop speaking out of both sides of your mouth, because y'all be the main ones talking about we from Hebrew, we Israelites, we whatever, or we all from Ma'at and we all Heru and Mahotep and we from Egypt and we Moors and we really from the Moors and all that. You'd be wanting to say that we from East Africa when it suits your argument, but when you actually find out that those places were full of Christians, then all of a sudden you want to say no, we from West Africa. Like, okay, fine, let's go with that then. Did you realize that actually there was Christians in West Africa that had heard about the gospel of Jesus Christ way before slave ships even showed up? And we don't hear about that from white or even from Arab sources. We hear about that from African sources that painted and wrote about how the gospel was spreading from East Africa into West Africa as well. And so that's the deeper story that picture really helps us to understand.